Have you ever wondered what your dog truly sees when they look at you? Not just your face or your hands holding their leash, but the real you. Imagine this. One day, you're gone. Maybe for a few hours, maybe for a year, maybe forever. Does your dog know where you went? Would they still wait by the door, nose pressed to the window, ears twitching at every sound that might be you? People say dogs can't understand loss the way we do. But if you've ever seen a dog sleep on an old sweater you left behind, or watch the door long after you've left, you know they feel it in a way that words can't explain. Today, I want you to join me on a journey deep into the mind of the creature who curls up at your feet every night. We're going to look through their eyes, smell the world through their nose, and hear the familiar sound of your voice the way they do, as if it's the center of their entire universe. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover might change the way you see that wagging tail forever. When we think about how our dogs recognize us, we often imagine it's all about scent. And it's true. Your smell is like a signature to your dog, a memory stitched into every cell of their body. But here's something most people never realize. Dogs don't just smell you. They see you. They hear you. And more amazingly, they remember you in ways we're only beginning to understand. In recent years, scientists put dogs inside MRI scanners, wide awake, tails wagging, noses twitching. What they found was astonishing. When dogs see the face of someone they love, a special part of their brain lights up, the same way ours does when we see someone we cherish. It's not just your scent or the food in your hand. It's the shape of your eyes, the way your mouth curves when you speak, the familiar line of your jaw. If you've ever wondered whether your dog would recognize you in a crowd, the answer is yes, they would. Not only do they track your face, but they also memorize the rhythm of your walk, the tiny gestures you make when you reach for their leash or toss a ball. And then there's your voice. You might not think your voice matters much to a creature with such a powerful nose, but to your dog, your voice is a melody they can pick out in a sea of noise. In one study, researchers discovered dogs have special regions in their brains that respond just to human voices, not barking, not other sounds, but us. Even the subtle changes in your tone tell them everything. When you're happy, when you're worried, when you're about to say goodbye. Picture this. Somewhere out there, an old man told the world how he'd lost his best friend, a small, fluffy bichon. When he picked up the ashes at the vet, his heart shattered. But then, out of nowhere, a stranger's Doberman walked over, laid his big head on the man's knee, and just stayed there, silent, steady, and warm. No words, no commands, just two souls who understood something unspoken. That moment wasn't about smell. It was about a gaze, a feeling, a living bridge of memory and empathy. Think of all the little ways your dog reads your face, the tilt of your head, the wrinkle between your eyebrows when you're deep in thought, the flicker of a smile when you come home late but they're waiting anyway. They memorize these tiny clues so they can piece together who you are, how you feel, and whether you're okay. And if you've ever doubted whether they remember, just listen to the stories. People who come home after years apart, only to see their dog run straight past everyone else and leap into their arms. Dogs who hear their owner's voice through a phone or a speaker and perk up as if the door just opened. That's not just scent. That's not an accident. That's memory, alive and awake inside a creature whose whole world revolves around you. So next time you lean down and whisper to your dog, remember this. That moment goes deeper than fur and wagging tails. It's a snapshot your dog saves and plays back whenever they miss you, whenever they wait by the door, whenever they dream about the one human who means home. But memory is just the beginning. Because while your face and your voice tell your dog who you are, there's something even stronger that bonds you together, something that has nothing to do with scent or sound at all. Ready to find out what it is? What makes a dog choose you out of everyone in their world? Why, in a family of 5, does your dog sleep curled up at your feet and not someone else's? Science has given us part of the answer, but the rest is written in small moments we often take for granted. When a puppy is born, the first thing it knows is warmth, the heartbeat of its mother, the smell of her fur, the safety of her body curled around them. As the puppy grows, something incredible happens. It can transfer that same deep trust to a human. And when it does, it doesn't just see you as the person who fills its bowl. It sees you as a parent, a guardian, and the leader of its tiny pack. Researchers have shown that when a dog gazes at its human, both the dog's brain and the human's brain release oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds a mother to her newborn child. This invisible chemical bridge connects you both in ways deeper than language or training ever could. That's why when you come home and your dog locks eyes with you, they're not just checking if you have a treat. They're feeling safe. They're reminding themselves, and you, that this bond is real. Some people say dogs follow the strongest, the fastest, the toughest. But ask anyone who has truly loved a dog and they'll tell you, dogs don't follow strength. They follow trust. They choose the one who calms the chaos, not the one who pulls the hardest on the leash. Think about the story of the woman whose tiny Spitz was nearly stolen right out of her arms. She'd spent years feeding strays in her neighborhood, mangy, scarred, forgotten by most people. But to her, they were family. One day, a thief tried to run off with her little dog. She chased after him, alone, crying in the street. Suddenly, the same pack of strays she had fed so many nights came out of nowhere, led by a huge alibi, and blocked the thief's path. They didn't bark, they didn't attack, they just stood there, a living wall, until she caught up and pulled her dog free. Those dogs had no collar, no training, no reason to care. But they did, because to them, she was pack. That bond was more powerful than fear or hunger. It was trust, raw and unconditional. And maybe that's what so many people miss when they look at a dog from the outside. A leash isn't control, it's connection. A wagging tail isn't just happiness. It's a signal that says, you are my safe place. You are my pack. If you've ever seen your dog drop a toy at your feet or bring you a ball with a careful mouth, you've seen this trust in action. Your dog could tear that toy apart in seconds, but instead, they offer it to you gently, asking you to share a moment, to play, to laugh, to be part of their small circle of loyalty. Some people worry that dogs think we're weak, slow walkers, clumsy runners, easily tired. And they're right, in a way. Dogs do notice how we stumble while they leap. They know they could outrun us in an instant. But it doesn't matter, because for a dog, the leader of the pack isn't the fastest. It's the one who stays, the one who sets the rules, keeps the peace, and brings them back home every time. So when you look down at those eyes staring up at you from the end of a leash or from the foot of your bed, remember, you're not just a pet owner. You're their compass, their comfort, their parent, in every way that counts. But what happens when that trust is tested? When life gets hard, when your world starts to crumble, when sadness sits heavy in your chest? Does your dog notice? Do they really understand when you're hurting? Let's find out. It's easy to think that when you close the door behind you, your troubles stay hidden from your dog. After all, they can't read your mind, right? But the truth is, your dog probably knows you're hurting before you even say a word. Sometimes before you even know it yourself. Science has shown that when you feel stressed, your body shifts in ways you don't even notice. Your voice tightens, your movements slow down, your shoulders slump a little lower. But more than that, your scent changes. The chemicals in your sweat and skin shift when anxiety creeps in. To your dog's nose, it's as obvious as a flashing sign. In one study, Researchers discovered that when dogs spend time near their owners, their cortisol, the stress hormone, actually drops. Even more amazing, the same thing happens to us. When a dog gazes at you, sits close enough for you to feel the warmth of their fur, that bond releases oxytocin for both of you, calming the fear that life sometimes pours over your shoulders. Maybe you've felt it yourself. That quiet moment when your dog pads over to you while you're sitting alone, eyes glassy from a hard day, and they just lean in. No bark, no tricks, just the soft weight of their head on your knee, or the gentle press of their body against yours, as if to say, "I'm here, you're not alone." And it's not just sadness they sense. Dogs can pick up on what's happening inside your body in ways science is only beginning to explain. Did you know that dogs have been trained to detect certain kinds of cancer simply by sniffing your breath or your skin? They can even warn people with diabetes of a sudden blood sugar drop or alert someone with epilepsy before a seizure strikes. It's not magic. It's biology. But it feels like magic when your dog seems to appear right when you need them most. Picture an elderly man living alone who noticed his dog kept sniffing one spot on his chest over and over. At first he laughed it off, but the dog wouldn't stop, nudging, pawing, staring. Weeks later, the doctors found a small lump, caught early enough to treat. Maybe the dog didn't know the word cancer, but it knew something wasn't right, and it refused to let that secret stay hidden. When you think about it makes sense. For thousands of years, dogs have watched us closer than we've ever watched them. They learn to read the smallest signs, a deep sigh, a restless toss and turn at night, the way your eyes look away when you're lost in thought. To us, these moments pass unnoticed. To your dog, they're a language clearer than any words you could speak. That's why, when you're sick or sad or broken-hearted, your dog doesn't demand you explain yourself. They just show up, quietly, faithfully, pressing their soft body into the empty spaces you didn't know needed filling. It's not about getting a treat or being praised for good behavior. It's about something older than words. A bond that says, "I see you. Even when you're hurting, you're still my person." So the next time your dog curls up beside you on a day you'd rather stay in bed, or licks your hand when tears slip down your cheek, don't brush it off. They know. They feel it all. But what happens when the pain is deeper than a bad day? What happens when life takes you away for longer than your dog can understand? When the door closes and doesn't open again for days, weeks, years, or forever? Can a dog feel that empty space? Can they hold on to you even when you're gone? Let's open that door next. What happens when you have to leave, and there's no way to explain that you're not coming back tomorrow or next week or maybe ever? We tell each other stories to ease the ache. We say our dogs cross a rainbow bridge, waiting for us in fields that never end. But here's something just as real. Something that lives not in heaven, but in the loyal heart you leave behind. Dogs don't understand the word goodbye. They don't think about forever the way we do, but they know when someone is missing. They feel the silence like a heavy blanket over an empty chair, an unopened door, a quiet house. You can see it in the way they wait by a window long after the footsteps have faded. You can hear it in the soft whine when a car passes by. Almost, but not quite, the sound they're waiting for. Stories pour out of people who've lived this. Someone loses a beloved friend, only to find their dog sleeping beside an old pair of shoes, nose buried in the scent that's all that's left. Another person comes home after years overseas, worried their dog won't remember. But the moment the door opens, there's no hesitation, no fear, no doubt, just the wild, tearful rush of paws and fur and a tail that spins like it could fly. Science gives us a glimpse of how this happens. Studies show that dogs have what we'd call episodic memory, not just remembering tricks or rules, but moments, smells, voices, the way your laugh dances through the air. Even after years, that memory stays tucked away, waiting for the day it can bloom again. Maybe you've seen the videos. A soldier kneeling in an airport terminal while a dog barrels across the floor, yelping with joy that makes strangers stop and cry. It doesn't matter that the soldier looks older, heavier, changed by time. To the dog, that heartbeat, that voice, that scent, it means home is back. And then there's the side we don't talk about enough. The ones who wait, and wait, and wait. Dogs who sit by doors that don't open. Windows that never reveal the face they love. They carry that space inside them, day after day, filling it with your memory. Some curl up on your side of the bed. Some keep a watchful post at a gate. Some refuse to play with the toy you always threw, like it's waiting for your hand to pick it up again. For people who have had to say goodbye for good, not just a trip, but the final kind of goodbye, this is both heartbreak and comfort. It means your dog's love didn't vanish the moment you did. It means part of you stays behind, woven into fur and bone and heartbeat. Maybe that's why so many of us hold on to the idea of the rainbow bridge. It's more than just a wish that our dogs are waiting in some perfect meadow. It's the deep, human hope that the bond we built, all those quiet nights, muddy walks and soft sighs as they drifted off at our feet, didn't just disappear. Sometimes people dream of their dogs long after they're gone. They wake up feeling that warm weight beside them again, the brush of fur, the faint sound of paws on a floor that hasn't felt those footsteps in years. Maybe it's just memory. Maybe it's something more. What matters is that your dog's love leaves a mark so deep it keeps you company long after their collar is tucked away in a drawer or their favorite blanket folded at the back of a closet. It stays in the air you breathe, the way you still check the door out of habit, the way your heart lifts for half a second at the rustle of leaves on the porch. So the next time you look at that old photo or find a stray hair on your sweater, know this: your dog didn't stop loving you when you left. And if they could, they'd run through 1,000 empty rooms just to hear your voice call them home one more time. But what does all this mean? The faces they remember, the scents they guard, the doorways they wait beside. It means one simple, powerful truth. To your dog, you were never just a person. You were, and always will be, their whole world. So what does all this mean, really? All the studies and sweet stories, the science about brain scans and scent trails, they all point to something so simple, so pure, that we often forget it when life gets busy. You are not just someone who feeds your dog or walks them twice a day. You are their constant, their anchor in a world that would feel too big and too loud without you. Think about it. While you sit in meetings, while you run errands, while you check your phone and worry about bills and news and tomorrow, your dog is waiting, and not just waiting for food or play. They're waiting for you. Your scent drifting through the hallway, your keys jingling at the door, the sound of your shoes on the steps. They don't care what job title you hold, how much money you make, or what mistakes you've carried on your shoulders for decades. They don't judge your wrinkles or your tired eyes or the days you don't feel strong enough to smile. Instead, they see the same you they always have. The voice that says good morning, the hand that scratches behind their ears, the lap that's always open, no matter how old they get. Somewhere deep down, maybe that's why people trust dogs with parts of themselves they can't give anyone else. Secrets whispered through fur, tears buried in ruffs and floppy ears. Whole pieces of our hearts we're too afraid to show to the world, but safe enough to show to the one who loves us, without a single condition attached. And when you think about it, maybe dogs are here to remind us of something about ourselves, that what really matters isn't how loud we bark or how big we stand, but how soft we stay when someone needs us. Maybe that's why they forgive so easily, why they press their noses into our palms even when we've snapped at them, why they're the first to forgive us for things we can't even forgive ourselves for. In a way, A dog's whole life is built around tiny, ordinary miracles. The quiet miracle of remembering you after years apart. The everyday miracle of hearing your voice in a noisy room and knowing, that's mine. The miracle of lying on your feet at night, heart beating in time with yours, as if to say, no matter how big the world gets, we'll always fit right here. Instead of thinking, I wish my dog saw me as more, try to see it for what it is. They already do. To them, you are bigger than any fear they might have, stronger than the storms that send them trembling under your bed, kinder than the strangers that pass by on the street. You are the center of their map, the place they run to, circle around, return to again and again. So the next time your dog follows you from room to room, or wakes up just to check if you're still breathing, don't brush it off as clinginess. It's their way of saying, you are my world. As long as I have you, I have everything. It's so easy to forget this in the rush of our human problems. So easy to see a wagging tail and think it's simple. But behind those eyes is a whole universe built around you. A story written in every heartbeat, every nose bump, every gentle sigh at your feet. And maybe, when you see how completely a dog can love a person, it reminds you to love yourself a little better too. After all, if this creature, who could run, who could hide, who could belong to anyone, chooses you every single day, maybe you're worth every bit of that love and more. So hold them a little closer tonight. Whisper that promise again. Because for them, it's not just words. It's the only thing that matters. But don't just keep this truth to yourself. There are people out there who need to hear it too. People whose dogs are waiting for them at the door right now. People who carry that soft, loyal love with them wherever they go. So let's remind the world, together. If this story touched something in you, if you've ever looked into your dog's eyes and seen the whole world staring back, don't keep it to yourself. Tell us. Share your story in the comments. Tell us about the time your dog waited by the window all night, or how they rested their head on your knee when you needed it most. Every one of these moments reminds the rest of us that we're not alone, that somewhere, someone understands just how deep this bond really goes. And if you believe more people should remember what a dog's love means, share this video with a friend. Send it to someone who's missing their old friend, or who's about to bring a new puppy home for the first time. Let's remind them. To that wagging tail, you are more than just a person. You are family. You are home. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, more truths, more science, more quiet, beautiful secrets about the animals who choose to walk this life with us, don't forget to subscribe. It helps us keep telling these stories, for you, and for the one curled up at your feet right now, just waiting to hear your voice.